Alright all, and welcome back to the Day 2 preview of the Galway Festival for 2020, and also covering a few races from glorious Goodwood Day 1 of 2020 as well. It'll be very interesting to watch what happens and unfolds tomorrow on Tuesday. Sorry for this coming out a bit late, obviously I'm busy enough during the weekdays, unfortunately, so a lot of these day-by-day videos will probably be up a little bit later this week because I'm just, in a bit more of a rush to, get things done and get the time to record the videos. Looking back on today, it was an annoying type of day from the selections at Galway. I was probably right to go for horses at bigger prices, but just picked the wrong ones. Elizabeth Aragon, our nap of the day, was a non-runner. These sort of things can happen. Obviously, Ciel d'Afrique came second, very unlucky. Penny Out was really the main one, though. 15-2 advised, and she got beaten a short head. Just couldn't get there on the line. It was really, really disappointing. She was well backed. And the horse in the first, the name escapes me now, something Ally, I believe it was, for Mick O'Callaghan. Trusted Ally, was it? I think that's the one. Yeah, Trusted Ally. Just looking at my notes there from yesterday. Got no run at the inn and came fourth. Running on at the finish was disappointing as well. So it was a nearly day. Hopefully, if we can continue, with those sort of selections, that one day, things will all click for us. Starting off tomorrow's 8-race card with the 4:45, a 7 furlong fillies maiden, and I'm going to take a chance here on Oh So Fine for Donncha O'Brien. Gavin Ryan takes the right. Gavin Ryan was in the winner's enclosure today. This filly's 5-1 and out of the illustrious Galileo and Dane Hill family, which has obviously been a producer of so many good horses over the past number of years at this stage. This filly wasn't particularly well fancied on debut at the Curragh, but ran a nice race, went fifth to Jim Bulger's Anti-Breedy. Running very well that day, ran on very nicely. It looked a strong enough maiden at the time. I remember Aidan O'Brien sent out Snowfall, who was a odds-on shot that day, and she got squeezed up for room, but she's won a maiden since. So the form of the race, I suspect, isn't too bad. I think there will be progression to come. Obviously, these Galileos usually take a run or two to get into themselves, and I think she should be bang there, to be honest. I think 5-1's not a bad price. I think Ger Lyons' filly will be tough to beat. But, you got to take some of these favourites on, I believe. And I do think Oh So Fine might be a nice alternative. The 5:15 is a 7 furlong maiden for 3-year-olds plus. And I'm going to be putting up my nap of the day in this race. And to be honest, he's probably the nap of the day because pretty much everything else I'm going to put up is at big prices, so you can't really be, I wouldn't be confident napping anything else up. And it is teed up for Billy Lee and Ken Condon. I'm putting them up at 9-4 at the moment. Pretty much this Ken Condon is on fire at the moment. He's banging in winners. Obviously Romanised one in these silks a week or two ago, very impressively, and he had a double on the day that day. I think he had two group winners that day. This horse ran a big race on debut, went second to Mr. Wendell, who's not a bad horse. The Ger Lyons is down at Gorham Park. Again, another one of these horses wasn't particularly fancy that day. It was a 16-1 shot, but put in a massive run over 7 furlongs. That was on soft to heavy ground. It'll be encountering, if there's no more rain, probably yielding to soft. If there's a bit more rain, it will be properly soft. So, that's something to bear in mind for these horses. And it's another day that really, I suspect, is a small stakes day at that. But teed up, I think, is a massive chance. Obviously, Dermot Wells had a very good start to the festival with the double today. And obviously, Ciel d'Afrique wasn't far off either. But he has the favourite in this race, but I'm going to take him on here with teed up. I think he's got a massive chance for the informed Ken Condon. The 5:45 is the listed race on the card, the 7 furlong Carb Filly Stakes. Surrounding is a pretty rock solid favourite, and Surrounding is a filly I put up as a older horse to follow for this year, and it does, I find it hard to go against her, but she is 3-1 and she's in stall 15, which is just a terrible, terrible draw over 7 furlongs at Galway, so I couldn't be going in at 3-1. Instead, I'm going to risk a chance each way on a Gerlines filly, Auxilia. 14-1, this Free Eagle filly had some really, really good 2-year-old form, was second in a Leopardstown maiden to One Voice before winning an Ace maiden herself, and then finishing a very close third to Fancy Blue, who's obviously gone on to win a French Classic this year for Donncha O'Brien. Her form this year hasn't been as good, didn't stay a mile 2 in a listed race, I think it was, at Naas on return. It was Naas or Navan, actually. And then was 8th in a Curragh handicap over a mile when leading for the majority of the race until the late stages. Now drops back to 7 furlongs, which she hasn't run at since her maiden victory at Naas. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they ride her. I suspect they'll ride her quite aggressively, knowing that she'll definitely be getting this 7 quite well. And it probably doesn't, it pays to be kind of near enough the speed at Galway and a filly that can maybe travel a little bit better than some of the others. She's in stall 8, I believe, so if she jumps the gates well, she will be able to get into a nice enough position, given that there is 16, 17 runners, and I think 14-1 isn't a bad each way play. 6.15 is a mile, 3-year-old handicap, and I'm going to take a chance here on Mick Mulvaney's In From the Cold. Billy Lee takes the ride. He won at Sligo and Naas as a 2-year-old, winning at Naas by a half length over 7 furlongs on heavy ground over one of the kind of back end meetings, winning one of the nice nursery handicaps, and reappeared when winning the Madrid handicap at Naas on that one day of racing. 1 day flat racing kind of just before lockdown, that opening day of the season. He beat Camachito off a mark at 80 that day. This trip is sure to suit. He's been stepped up since that 7 furlong win, the Madrid handicap, since the resumption of racing. Has tried a mile 2 furlongs a few times, was behind a nice enough horse in Delphi one of those times, and last time out was 5th to Fame and Acclaim over a mile. Now this is a mile and a half, also on a stiff finish, and probably that's the trip that's going to suit this horse the best. He is, I think, off a mark at 85 now, so he does need to contend with a mark that he hasn't won off before, but I think 16-1 isn't a bad price. Mick Mulvaney's usually do run their races, and hopefully he can go well. The 6.45 is the big BMW Mile handicap, a very tough race at that. Hopefully it's going to be one where we'll be able to find 5 or 6 places with some bookmakers. And I'm going to take a chance here on Magnetic North for Sheila Lavery at 18-1 off a mark at 86. 4th to Patrick Sarsfield last time out. Patrick Sarsfield's obviously a horse I hold in high regard, and was obviously 3rd in a Group 1 over in Germany on the weekend. 2nd in a mile 2 mile 2 furlong handicaps last year off marks at 81 and 85, so has been able to deal with marks of similar variety to what he is now, and he was 7th in this race last year, only beaten a few lengths. So it is one where he obviously operates quite well around the track. He will need to stay on well in terms of, a mile and a half is probably a minimum trip for this horse these days. But Galway is a very stiff finish. Sometimes the pace can collapse pretty rapidly in those final furlong and a half, and Magnetic North hopefully will be staying on well. The 7.15 is a mile and a half furlong handicap again for horse rated 50-70, and I'm going to take a chance on Blankiedooda at 20-1 for John McConnell and Shane Foley. This 7-year-old gelding has been around the block a fair bit, but won 3 races last summer, including off a mark of 60 on that 3rd occasion. Won 3 on the bounce. Ran with promise the last few times at Ballinrobe and Tipperary, and has dropped to a mark of 58, which is well within reach for a horse of this nature. He's out of stall 5. I think he could run well here at a big price. 20-1 is a massive each way price, and considering he has operated off higher marks in the past, I think 58 might be a little bit lenient, and hopefully he can return to form. The 7.45 is the second division of this 50-70 handicap, and I'm taking a bit more of a speculative play in this one. Well, Blankiedooda is a speculative play at 20-1. This horse is actually 16-1. Woods for Oliver McKiernan and Chris Hayes. it is maybe a bit of a heart over head moment in terms of I do enjoy these Ollie McKiernan horses. This 4-year-old gelding out of Garswood, by Garswood, started off a mark of 73 for these connections when they bought him over from William Haggis. He'd previously shown a bit of promise for William Haggis in maidens over in England. As I say, he started off for 73, off a mark of 73. He obviously wasn't, I don't know whether he wasn't good enough or whether what's been the case, but he's been dropped £15 since then. Now, he's run 4 or 5 pretty rubbish races for this outfit up until last time out, when, even though he finished 10th, showed an awful lot of promise at Limerick. I know it was only beaten 4 lengths and got no room at the inn as well. So it's interesting to see he's been dropped £3 for that effort. Now off a mark of 58. He's got not a bad draw as well. And I think he could run well. I do think a horse of this nature does probably have a handicap in him at some stage. Whether it's tomorrow, I'm not so sure. But hopefully he can do the business. The 8:15 is the concluding 2 miles and a half furlong handicap for horses rated 50 to 80, and I'm going to take another each way go on Conron at 16 to 1. The 6-year-old gelding by Master Craftsman has ended up being a really, really effective dual-purpose horse for Jessica Harrington and won a handicap hurdle of a mark of 126 last winter. He was third in this race last year off a mark of 77. He now returns here off a mark of 78. He will have to show a lot more than he did in the 2-mile handicap behind Dalton Highway at the Curragh last time out, when he was beaten 75 lengths, and he's unseated over obstacles since then as well. So he doesn't come here in the greatest recent nick, but obviously, again, another one of these horses that doesn't go too badly at the track, on the ground, and hopefully 16 to 1 mightn't be the worst price. I'll cover the 3 group races. I'll be probably doing this throughout the week, covering the group races at Goodwood only. Starting off with the Vintage Stakes, I'm going to be very keen to take on this favourite Battleground. He might be a horse that's just really good for Aidan O'Brien, and maybe I've got a bad read on him, but that form of his Chesham win at Royal Ascot is real dirt, to be honest. So maybe he's a very good horse and he might show that tomorrow, but certainly the form of that race wouldn't indicate too much. I'm going to take a 16 to 1 prod on Painless Potter for Alan King and Martin Harley. I've done quite well actually backing Alan King horses on the flat this year. This 2-year-old has run very nicely both times, when third at Kempton before finishing a really eye-catching 5th in the Coventry Stakes over 6 furlongs. He obviously needs to step up in trip, as usually Alan Kings do. This 7 furlongs could be a really nice kind of showing of that, and perhaps he could run another big race at decent odds of 16 to 1. The Lennox Stakes, a 7 furlong Group 2 race, open race. I know a few unassured enough judges have already put this horse up, but I'm going to follow in on Beat Laban at 25 to 1 for Richard Hannon. Won the Summer Mile at this festival last year. He's won actually twice at Goodwood. Once over 7 furlongs, once over a mile. Stays really well. He was too free on reappearance behind Mahathir when well beat in the Summer Mile, and hopefully can... the Ascot Mile, the Summer Mile was the race he won at Goodwood. Hopefully he can come on for that run, and 25 to 1 could be a big price. Also, obviously, the Goodwood Cup, Stradivarius versus Santiago, probably a race I won't be having a bet in, but if Stradivarius drifts again to that kind of 4 to 5, 10 to 11, like he did at Royal Ascot, I'd back him at that price, but no shorter. I do think he will beat Santiago. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel down below, and of course, give us your fancies for Galway and Goodwood tomorrow. As you guys well know, I'm not, the best tipster in the game you're ever going to find. I'm here for a bit of fun to preview these races, and hopefully, between all of us, we can back a few winners. So you might let me know what you guys think down below. And until tomorrow night, I hope you stay safe, stay well, land a few bets, and I'll see you guys then. Cheers.